Alright. Alrighty. So you've already tied one of these. So I have two videos. I think I'm gonna post both. But if you look, that is a little damsel. No focus. So there's a damsel. Got into focus. So there's a damsel eye. But this one's kind of big. So I'm gonna make another one. This one's kind of big. A really big damsel fly, if you look at it. Yeah, it's the same hook, but the way it is, it's kind of thicker bodied. I'm gonna make another one here, but we're gonna do something different than what I did with that one. We're gonna see how it comes out. We're gonna make like a smaller style, but it's the same thing. And we're gonna see how it comes out. So we're gonna make a really small tail. So like that. So it's got a really small mini tail. Same thing. We're gonna tie in a couple pieces of crystal flash and a piece of flash blue in here. Did the same thing with the other one. Like that, just a little small piece. And we're gonna go. Yeah, the other one's easier, I think, to make, but this one, we're gonna go down it like this. All that stuff. And we're gonna. So this is gonna be kind of weird because we're gonna tie in. So this one's gonna be extra work because usually I would leave it all in and wrap the body. But this one, I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna cut this off. And then tie it down. And I didn't do it this way the last time. So that's why I'm gonna post. I think I'm gonna post both videos. Two different ways I decided to do this and play with the marabou, I guess, basically. This time I'm gonna tie the whole marabou down, if that makes sense. And so I don't know if it's gonna let me do it, but we're gonna try. Since it's pretty long, it might let me. So we're trying to get a marabou piece that's long enough, and I think this one is. We're gonna strip these off. I don't know if it's gonna work. It might. We're gonna find out. We're gonna see. We're gonna get a few pieces of this. This is the tougher end, so we're gonna try to start apart. We're gonna see if we can do this. Let's see if it's gonna let us do this. It's gonna be kind of a different. I've never tried it. This is the way I think you're supposed to do this, but we're pulling these off, basically. This is the way you're supposed to tie this. But I just took that little tail piece because I wanted it a certain way. And we're going to try to do it sort of the way they said to do it, and then the way I want to do it. Let's see if it works. And we're going to put this like that on top of that one. So usually you're supposed to do it this way from the get-go, if that makes sense. So that tail's supposed to be like that from the get-go. And I need a piece of wire, which I had a piece of wire up here, and it seems to have walked off on me. It just walked away. There was a piece of wire up here. I must have knocked it down or something. It had a long strand of wire up here. Okay, well, we'll just have to get it on the one. I'll probably find it later somewhere. But we need to get a strand of copper. A lot of times I do this before I even start the videos or even a stream. I'll have it just like material's already kind of cut. And I've been filming on a different view lately. On a different, wish I could find that wire. That piece of wire I had, I already cut one. Like, don't want to cut another one. Because I'm running low. Guess I have to. Tie our copper in. Pull this to the side. Yeah, I'm going to do it like that. That ought to work. This part right here. Now it's got a bump there. Because I kind of folded this back on it. So, because I'm kind of trying to hide the thread. Where I wrapped that down. And hopefully it's going to come out right. If it doesn't, then I won't be posting it. This one, if it does, it does. I'm going to see if it comes out. If it might not be able to do it. I might have to try a different feather and we'll be going reverse. We're going to find out. Let's see. Just checking it out and see if it's going to work or not. Ooh, it's going to be really close. It's going to be really close. Okay. And then we're going to tie it down like right there. Yeah, it's going to be really close. So this is how you're supposed to do this. I didn't do this like this on the other one that I tied. So you see it stands up on the body, feathery. That's how Damsel flies. Let's see, and then we're gonna. This is the tricky part. And then you gotta wrap it back on itself. Just like I did with the back end. Fold it back and then wrap it. But you gotta leave yourself some room. This is the thing with this one. It's like leaving room up here so you don't put the head of the fly in yet. Right there. So that's going to be the shell back of this. And then there's the wrap there. And I'm just going to go with the same grain on this one. Just try to get them even. The same grain. Kind of get in between the marabous. And it's just the wire to hold it down. Okay. Couple wraps right here. I think I'll have just barely enough to do this. And just kind of wrap the copper there. I don't know if I want that much copper in there. I want this piece just long enough I can use it for something else. I just leave it right there. There. Yeah, the other one was longer. I don't know why. See, I don't really like that. I just feel like doing this. I don't like how it's coming out because it's really hard with this piece of marabou I'm using. So I'm doing like extra steps on this one. So we're just going to tie this in too. So I'm actually doing extra stuff that this pattern says it doesn't require you to do. So I'm going to do a little extra thing that I'm not even really supposed to have to do. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. Because I want it to be I guess fuzzy underneath, if that makes any sense. So we're gonna do it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna wrap that in 2 wraps. So this is the thing, you're not supposed to have to do this to make this pattern look like it's supposed to. But I'm gonna do it this way because I want it to look better than what it's. I'm just doing extra, so I'm doing a little extra with this one. This pattern is, you're not supposed to even have to do this. It's supposed to be really easy. But it's showing me that it's not as easy as they claim it to be. So like they designed this one to make it easy, basically. So I'm gonna wrap this like that. Couple wraps around. because I want it to be fuzzy underneath the shell back. You know, like the last one I did, it's not very fuzzy underneath the shell back. Yeah, see, and I want it to be at least a little fuzzy underneath the shell back. It just will look better to me. That makes sense. It'll just look better. Yeah, it's gonna look better. Yeah, it's just gonna look better when yeah, we're gonna do it that way. It's just gonna look better when I get ready to do this other part. To me, like, I think it's gonna look better. And it's kind of difficult wrapping this type marabou this way. But I don't care if it like right there. Grabs, get it snug. Yeah, these damsel flies are supposed to be simple. Some of them are simple. It's just you're dealing with such a soft material. I'm gonna tie the head in yet. That's part of it too. I don't want to quite tie that in yet. Okay, so now we're gonna run this over the top. Hold it down. Like so. Get a couple loops over it. So there's your shell back to it. Being again, what we're gonna do, here's the tricky part, the fun part, is I'm gonna trim these. So there's that quill, if you can see it, the quill sticking out, you wanna go to, I'm gonna do it down the quill. So then those come off, you see? But you gotta make sure to secure that shell back down good, or else this is gonna it's gonna be a disaster for you. And what you're trying to do is, I'm gonna get that quill and get those kind of spread out, and I'm trying to get that quill, it's in the center, out of there. See that? But I'm cutting down the sides of it, if you noticed. To get those pieces of marabou off, so then they're soft and frilly. Because you're trying to get the you're trying to get there, these to be like that. So now they're like that. And they're laid in the center. Doesn't look too bad. And we're gonna try to split them down the center. Not sure if it's gonna quite come out like I want. I don't know if I've made them long enough. But this is a very... You're gonna kind of separate them like this. Those go on this side. Let's see how many. Let's see what it looks like. So you're trying to separate them evenly as you can. It's kind of challenging because I don't think this piece was quite long enough to do this how I wanted it. And this is the hard part, is getting it. Boom. You're trying to keep it from there. It's a little challenging to get this to this damsel fly to sit. You really kind of gotta work with the feather on this one. Alright, it's pretty much done now. Just gotta get this one last. It's definitely a challenge with the okay. It's like I would like the head of this to be kind of smaller, but it's pretty small already. That was the problem with the other one too. Was really trying to get this to be just the head of this to be kind of small. And that was what was really causing a lot of issues in making the frills, as you would say, of the damsel fly. And try not to make the damselfly head too big. I think it's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna leave it there because it's just gonna look too crazy. Yeah, this is gonna look too crazy with that much thread up there. I think right here is fine. It's just gonna have to stay like it is. This is the second one I've tied, just in a different way. So this is like a, remember this is like a little damselfly. And I decided to do two because I didn't like the way the other one came out, but they both look fishy. This thing is acting crazy on me. Why are you doing this to me? Let's see here. There we go. Like it's just you're dealing with a very soft type of feather, and you're trying to put a knot up there. A hitch. There it goes. Somehow I put a mini knot right there. It won't matter. Okay. But this is a damsel. And then we're gonna get close thing. Alright. Now we're gonna trim these. I'm trying to get we got some of that funny stuff from off the quill in there. I'm trying to get some of it out. So right now we're just trying to match them a little bit. The sides, the wings. Basically, these are basically the wings, but really these things have like gills, you know, like on them when they're in the water. These critters. Yeah, these ones are a little tougher. Just trimming. You get this to kind of look. People are so crazy, dude. That they're willing to be like that. It's so crazy. And then they get you and like, well, you. And it's just like, that's the darkness within. It's like, that's why it's crazy when you talk about your religions and stuff. I was just thinking about it. It just keeps kind of popping in my mind the last couple of days. Some conversations. I was kind of talking to some people today. So just dropping some knowledge, which I'm sure they already have that knowledge already. And I was trying to tell him, I was like, sometimes I talk about it on my thing about these little secret groups that aren't secret and doing weird stuff to people. And it's just unfortunate that sometimes there's loss of life and or even financial securities that like happen with people because of this stuff. And it's just some people just don't deserve it. Almost nobody really does. It's just not a normal life what people consider normal in this society. So we're so advanced. We're so advanced sometimes in our society that we're not advanced. That's what I've learned. We're so advanced in society, we're not advanced in other parts of it. Some people just like, I don't care. And most people are like that because they don't care as long as it's not it's like it's not affecting them and stuff. Like, that's what I was talking about in the last video a little bit too. They're like, it's fine as long as it ain't ruining their life. If it ruins someone else's life, cool. It's not me. Or if it causes all them problems, well, that's your problem, not mine. You know, it's kind of how it just seems like it rolls sometimes. I don't know how this is gonna. I'm gonna have to get the dryer out here because these feathers are so soft. That's the only thing not working for Marty. We've been discussing that. We need some of this salmon tires, jig tires. Is okay. I know that this is. No, I think okay. Could have done better on the wings. But it is a breathing looking damselfly. Took my time. Took my time to really try to get it right. And I wanted to make sure that even the underbelly of this thing had and we're gonna kind of manipulate the feather again. Just trying not to catch that razor feather. That's exactly what I was trying not to do. I mean, honestly, if this is a different color, it might pass for a stonefly or different type of fly. So there you go. That's a damselfly. I don't know how good the focus is. I have it on lock, the little lock thing on, so the focus will look good, but I don't know the lighting. So there's a damselfly. And I don't know if you can see. There, put my hand behind it. How you can see the shell back on it. It's kind of bumped there. You can see there's a little mini shell back on there. And you can see the wraps on the body. pretty decently. It's kind of hard to do these little gill feathers. Those would be like the legs, basically, kind of blending in to it because they're a little bit more on the left side than the right. But if you look underneath, you can see. Let's see if we can pull this side. Yeah, I can. So see if we can manipulate these a little bit. Because there's not very many on this side where the glue kind of sets in. The point of it is that hook eye clear. Boom. And then we're gonna trim a little bit of the crystal flash because now we got that everything else done. So when you do that tail, you're supposed to, you don't even have to put crystal flash in it. I just added it. When you do that tail, you're actually not supposed to do it the way I did it. You're supposed to actually, I don't know sure what the camera's doing right there, but you're actually supposed to not necessarily supposed to take this and put the tail in like that and then cut it. You're supposed to take these off. We're supposed to take these off instead of putting this in and cutting it. You're supposed to actually peel these off, put those in as a tail, then wrap it. But I wanted like a little bit bigger tail, but damselflies are kind of thin, actually, more thin bodied. So if you look at the difference between the two, but they're both damselflies. They're a little bit different type of look to them. This one I think is more thinner bodied, like it should be. But you can play around with that, you know. So I made this one look like it's like more bigger looking. The damselflies are usually more thin, so that's what's like. I'll make a thinner one. So there's like two versions of it, and then this one actually has brown in it. And damselflies can be almost like a brown, so that's why I put like a brown green. I think it looks better. Now, that's probably what I should do if I make another one. That's what I'm gonna do with this style. But they're basically like the same style. The only difference is I just tiled in the marabuteo and then wrapped the whole bundle on this one. This one I just tore the pieces off and then wrapped it. And then I still wanted kind of a more marabuteo, so I cut the little tip off that. I cut that plume off of that one. A little mini plume, and did it a certain way so it's still kind of marabou at the tail. But there it is. That's and then I made it so the body under the shell is more frilly. This one doesn't have any frill. This one has no frilliness to it. If you look under there, it's just copper wire wrapped under there for weight. This one's the solar opposite, and it's a lot thinner looking. It's a lot little thinner looking. And it's just because I got the wrong the feather. The marabou I chose wasn't quite the best choice out of the bunch. So that's part of when making one of these too, is choosing the right marabou when you grab it out of the pack. And what I did was I just grabbed one that I already pulled out from when I made this one. It was already on the table. I was like, I'll just use that. Yeah. Now you can really see it here. Let's see if I can get it to lock in for us. There we go. Now you see it. Looks really good from that angle. Now you can see, yeah, that's just a little damselfly. That's basically a little damselfly nymph. Pretty quick and easy. They're not too hard. It just keep tying it, keep tying it, keep tying it, and it starts to look better and better, you know. So I mean, that's where there it is. There, there's another one there, and I just use tan thread, but you can use olive thread or black. But I wanted to kind of look more like the damselfly, so I use tan thread on it. The DNVs. Um, um, and this one's pre-waxed already, so you don't have to do anything to it if you're trying to like make it the feathers hold or anything. Or if you're making just really, use it more for dry flies, pre-waxed. But a lot of times I try to buy pre-waxed thread. I don't have much. I only have a little bit of unwaxed thread around. I just buy it and tie everything on it because it just kind of buy one thing and kind of use it for everything. You just buy the right aught size of the thread. So like I have 8/0 laying around here right now, which is fine because I make the jigs with 6 usually. So now I have some 8/0 kind of laying around that I've been kind of use for jigs. A little bit more tougher stuff. But I usually stick with 6 right in the middle. 6, 3/0 for the small stuff, and then. But now I might start using a little bit bigger for the jigs, just so I don't go through thread as often. It's about cost to the ratio. So it's like, should I just buy a bunch of this thread? Because I tie a bunch of other stuff besides jigs. So for me, it's like I buy the thread like kind of in the middle range because I can make my jig. I can make a big old salmon jig. Then I can step it down and make this little guy. It still looks pretty good and small and intricate. And that's on 6/0. Or then I can step it down and make a fly like that. And that's all on 6/0. So that's 6/0. This is 6/0. This is just tan and this is just black thread. So, and then this one, same thing. 6/0. I've only tied like one thing on. Oh, I tied this one. I tied this one on 8/0. So the steelhead. Tied that on 8. And then I was like, I didn't like how it felt, kind of, because I haven't tied with that heavy a thread in a long time. So I was like, I don't like how it felt, but fly's really solid. So I was like, for some of the bigger stuff, it's good, but smaller stuff, it's a little difficult. So this one's 6/0, and then for really tiny stuff, I'm just kind of talking about it while that's what it is. So really tiny stuff. You can now now that this thing's been sitting, now you can really see the colors in it. Maybe a little bit better on this camera. If I can get the light, like you can now the little fly, you can kind of see it, how it's sparkling, the translucent in the body of that midge I made. Couldn't see it very good when I first tied it, but now you can kind of see it as it's really sat up and dried and the glue's dried on it. I've just been kind of playing with the different, so there's a comparison in size. That was the Skip Morris nymph that I did, Mayfly. So you can see the size, they're pretty small. This is still pretty big in comparison. That's a size 12 streamer. This is a size 12 just a nymph hook, wet fly hook. So you can kind of see the comparison in size. And that's on the same hook. The partridge is on the same hook. It's on the same hook as that other one I just showed. Those are size 16, or they're size 12s also, but they're wet. They're just straight wet flies. This is a streamer here. So there you go. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me try to kind of play around with both of these patterns. I'm gonna post both of them, but you know, get two different kind of things going on there. You know, one's kind of a bigger, chubbier looking lure. You know, but they both have that shape. You know, this one just has brown in it, and you can put a piece of brown in this one too, but you just tie it with a little bit of different technique. So after tying both of these, I realized you can do this another way, and you get this. It's still gonna have that shape, but I just realized you can tie it even another way. So I just kind of like playing around with it. So like that's like the same pattern, but like a variation of how you would, the steps variation to how you'd make the shell back is different. And then I added in something in this one that's not even required of the pattern. Like the original pattern doesn't require you to do that, and I did that anyways because I was just like, I want to see, like, I wanted to cover that copper that's under there, and I wanted to be frilly in it because that breathes. Because these things in there in the water, they kind of look like that. Like they're kind of like these like frills are on their tails and stuff. Like they're kind of feathery. That's their gills. So that's how they breathe in the water. So that's what I was trying to go for, even on these little front parts, because that's supposed to be where their legs are. Technically, I probably could cut that shorter too. It's a little uneven. I just don't want to cut too much. But like, boom, boom. Sometimes you want to do try new things. There we go. A little bit closer, yeah. There you go. See? You see the little bump, little shellback, damsel fly. All right. Thank you guys. Once again, thank you for watching. I appreciate any support. You know, if you enjoy watching tie flies and learning little techniques and things, and I'm not a pro, but I'm not an amateur either. So, jack of all trades, master of none, better than a master of one. All right, peace. Thanks for watching.